Mine just wouldn't. Kept something. I don't know if it played all right or not. Anyway,
Perfect.
that's that.
Flawless.
We are
Flawless
live.
intro. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. How's everybody doing? We're back another week, another book, and I'm joined by my panel as usual. And it's Simon. Welcome back, Simon. Second time on the channel. How are you doing,
Hello.
mate?
Yeah, I'm all right, man.
Good, good. Obviously, we've got the busiest man on YouTube, Triple G Comics. How's it
Nice
going,
to be
Pete?
back. Very good, mate. Very good. I'm loving the fact that when you look at the screen, it looks like little Simon is sat on a stool or something compared to the rest of which.
He's
Bless
actually
him.
only 2 inches tall.
He's 2 inches tall. Yeah.
He's 2 inches tall.
No, I'm well, bud. I'm well. Looking forward to this because I think Simon picked this book.
Yeah, this is science pick.
It's well, yeah, we'll get into it, but yeah, I've enjoyed reading it.
I picked it, but you recommended it to me.
Yeah, I mentioned it to you a while ago, didn't I? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's Triple G's fault.
Yeah.
Of course, by the most nicest man on the YouTubes, it is, of course, Efren from Past Point Comics. How are you doing, Efren?
What is going on, Comic Book Familia? I'm here with my son, GP Venom, and some of my best friends on the UK. I'm ready to go. Great pick. Whoever picked DCeased. Second time I've read it. I took my time reading it. I really enjoyed this book. It's a good book.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
We don't have to bother with the chat because there's nobody in there yet. So that's that. So we'll just get straight into it. DCeased, written by Tom Taylor, art by Trevor Hairsine, and at least 7 others. Yeah. I didn't realize there was that many artists working on this book. You can't really tell when you go through it.
I was going to say because I think the main book is a consistent artist, is it not?
I'm not sure.
I know the one-off special has a whole host of artists listed, and I think when we get to that, you can tell. I think the book suffers for it, but I think the main artist, I don't know.
We should have.
Trevor Scott and Neil Edwards, the artists.
Yeah.
So I say it's number different. Terra Hairsine and Stefano Guardo. I believe I'm saying that incorrectly. Did issue 1 to 6. Or pages 1 to 6 and 15 to 26, and James Harron did pages 7 to 14.
Okay.
And that's the first issue. So there is multiple artists working on each issue.
Yeah. Interesting.
Which is strange, very strange.
Yeah.
With that said, Simon, do you want to give us the synopsis for the book?
Yeah, I will do. So this is DCeased, and it's a DC book. 600 million people, that's how many fall victim to a mysterious technical organic virus, which is unleashed on Earth. 600 million infected, 600 million turned into mindless, rampaging killer death and destruction. And that's just the beginning, it says. And yeah, so is that enough synopsis, or shall I carry on?
No, that's fine, mate.
That's fine.
Don't want to burn you out right at the beginning. Yeah. So like Simon says, it's a virus that gets set loose on the Earth. And we're going to go through the issues and find out how this happened and what's been done about it. Obviously, we just read the trade. Hello, Sean. Thanks for joining us, mate. We just read the trade, which is issues 1 to 6, plus the one-shot, A Good Day to Die. So we'll just go around and we'll give our overviews, and then we'll get into the issues. Efren, we'll start with you tonight.
So like I said, I read this book when it first came out, and I never read it again. So, it was a great choice to reread it. And when I reread books now, I really take my time and focus on it. Usually I have the TV in the background and that distracts me, and I wanted to, focus on this.
Yeah.
They're not zombies, but they just been infected and they're not hungry. They just want to kill basically any human. And I don't think they do it for subsistence. I'm not sure what they're doing for subsistence, but like I said, 600 million, people just like that, they get turned. I mean, the earth is doomed, and luckily there's some heroes left to help them hopefully escape. And we'll talk about it later on, but I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed reading this book again. And it's only 6 issues long, which I like. Sometimes when they're 8 and 12, like, oh my God, sometimes it's too long. It's precise, and basically there's a lot of action scenes in 6 issues, which I like.
Yeah, absolutely correct. Pete, how about yourself?
I think this book's phenomenal. I absolutely loved it. Much like Efren, I read it the first time around. I think I've read it again after, and then I've read it at a slower pace this time just to absorb it all. Like Efren, I love the fact it's 6 issues. I love the fact it's a self-contained story. I'm a bit of a sucker for Elseworld type stories where there's kind of no holds barred, so you don't know who's going to live and die. And I think this book really, really kind of shows that. Do you know what I mean? I like the fact that it feels like it's got proper life and death kind of situations, because in most crossovers and things like that, you know, Superman's going to survive. Do you know what I mean? It's rare and happens. Whereas in this, I mean, issue 1, you've got major deaths straight away. You know, I think the art's spectacular. The one thing I'd say that I really like about this book, more so than the artwork and all the rest of it, is those that know I'm a big softie. This book made me cry on multiple occasions. I could feel myself tearing up. And it continues on into the series after. I think it's beautifully written in terms of family dynamics. There are some scenes and some pages with Batman and Damian and Superman and John Kent and stuff. And there's a page later on we'll show that are just heartbreaking if you actually know these characters. Do you know what I mean? I just think Tom Taylor did a really good job on this series. Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Fuzzy's just saying there he's only ever read 1 issue of this, but always intend to go back. I'd recommend going back, Fuzzy.
Really worth picking up, Fuzzy. It really is, mate.
Some of the covers were first class, absolutely. Sean saying I have all 6 issues, meant to read them, got them for the covers. I was the same. I started picking these up just for the covers, and I don't cover buy at all. If anybody knows me, I get books I like for the stories, but I did for these ones, and I think I got about the first 3.
Just to show some of the covers there, GP.
I'll just give you my quick overview, and we'll have say they're amazing. The movie homage covers that you got the Nun, It, and the Conjuring. That's them ones.
I think my favorite. I think my favorite are those ones because there's a series of those ones with the cover kind of burnt away and you can see the dead Superman behind. I think they're really, really clever.
The only one I didn't get was the one with the monkey right in the corner. Get which movie that was off, but I got the rest. I couldn't figure that one out.
I see what you mean. So
if anybody knows what movie that is homaging, let us know, because we haven't got a bloody clue.
Very cool.
But even the Matina covers, they were really stunning as well. I thought it was a really good book. This I haven't read it previously. The story was absolutely brilliant, written by Tom. Like I said before, I didn't realize there was so many artists working on it, and it didn't seem like that. Through the book, it might have been like that panel even there that might look a bit different, but throughout the book, it did look like one artist worked on it. And this book gets brutal, which I love. And it really does get brutal. But an amazing book. I thought it was. I've been de-aged apparently. It's called having a shave, mate. Thanks very much. Appreciate that. So we'll go straight on to issue 1.
Actually, it's interesting, GP, when you say that now. I didn't realize reading the book at the time, but you can kind of see the 2 different art styles there, can't you?
You can there. But as you going through it, though, you don't realize. I would say I thought there was somebody else working on it when Apocalypse took Cyborg back. Darkseid took Cyborg back to Apocalypse, and the art changed a little bit. And it seemed after that bit, it seemed to go back to normal. So, but we start issue 1 with Superman breaking Darkseid's jaw, which was what an opener. But obviously, Darkseid was on Earth to get Summit, and apparently he got it, and it was Cyborg, which he took back to Apocalypse. And I think this is the trouble for new readers when they start going on about the anti-life equation. If you're not like big into DC, you're not going to realize what that is. So I think
which
new readers
version
will
of
have trouble
Earth
with
was
that.
this again? I forgot which. What should they call it? Earth. Which version?
No idea.
What do you mean, Simon? Sorry.
Because there's different versions of DC Earths, isn't there? So
In
which
the multiverse.
Oh right, so what you mean? I don't think it's named as a different. It's just an Elseworld kind of tale.
okay, yeah. Interesting.
Yes. So Darkseid gets what he wants, and that's Cyborg, which he takes back to Apocalypse. And then he gets the Black Racer, which is Death, and using a bit of him and the anti-life equation, he infects Cyborg and sends him back to Earth, where the infection starts going onto people's phones and through the internet, and it starts infecting people. And I just recently read World Tree, where something like this is happening on that.
Yeah, it's very similar.
Right, not in the same vein, like people going mad after looking at something on the screen. So I thought that was pretty good. And Superman hears the screams, he goes off and sees what's happening, and then we go to Batman, and he's attacked by the Bat family, and it doesn't look good. That looks good, actually.
Yeah.
What did we all think of issue 1? Pete?
Absolutely loved it. I do agree with you, mind. I think if you don't know your DC universe history, it can be a little bit jarring. So Darkseid has always been after the anti-life equation. He's a bit like he's a bit like Thanos from Marvel. He kind of wants to kill everyone, kind of thing. So that's it. If you don't understand that, basically he's trying to kill everybody. So he finally gets it, like you say, and then it all kicks off. I absolutely love that when people become infected, they do this kind of, and they continue throughout the entire series, this face scratching thing where they're trying to rip the virus out of the head, kind of thing. It's really quite graphic. I thought this issue was stellar. I thought it got you right into the action. I wasn't expecting this ending at all.
I wasn't expecting that at the end of issue 1.
Yeah, I just thought it was brilliant. If your issue 1, if the purpose of a good first issue is to get you hooked to want to pick up the next issue, this absolutely did the trick for me. I wanted to read straight on. Loved it.
But the thing is, you're going to see a lot of scenes similar to this through this book. It does take you back a little bit, to be fair.
Oh yeah.
Simon, what's your thoughts on issue 1?
Yeah, I mean, this is the first time I've read it. I bought obviously the graphic novel because it was recommended by Peter. I absolutely loved it. The first issue. I obviously know who Darkseid is, and that is after the anti-life equation. Like Peter says, if you're not big on your DC, then it's maybe a bit understanding, on that. But it's a bit harder in other issues, understanding other DC characters sometimes and what's going on. Like Apocalypse always has a boombox to go from Earth to his Darkseid has his boombox to go from Earth to Apocalypse. The Justice League has always fought Darkseid as a main villain, like Thanos. So we've seen him in many occasions. And I thought this was a really cool story and a different concept to a virus. So it's really interesting.
Efren, your thoughts on issue 1?
This is why I put down my cell phone all the time and I walk away from it. I just on my cell phone constantly, so I can see, Stretch. But if it would happen, this is the internet, or the phones. I think they'd have a big, main reason why something like this would happen if it actually does. But I mostly read Marvel, but I am into DC. So, reading it again, I'm glad you guys explained the anti-life a little bit too, but I didn't know that at all. What I liked about the first issue is they're not messing around. This is like Peter said, an Elseworld story, but they're getting rid of heavy hitters very at the beginning. Usually in other series, they take away minor characters here and there. But this one, they are not messing around. I believe in this issue 2 or the second issue, a certain Green Lantern is done. And, if you haven't read it, I'm sorry, but the Trinity, that I go, damn, by the end of the series, I go, dang, man, they were not messing around with this series, which I enjoyed a lot. You know,
Yeah.
you know, took out the heavy hitters. You know.
Yeah, you know, you're absolutely right. Efren, normally when you get books like this, it's normally like the B-list characters that you see go
Yeah.
first. So it's quite surprising who gets taken down.
Yeah.
And if we move into issue 2, there's a couple of more.
Oh, this was it. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So DCeased issue 2, there you got Batman there in his Mr. Freeze outfit.
But that's a heartbreaking scene with Damien, who's,
Yeah.
I mean, at this point in DC continuity, Damien's a little prat. Do you know what I mean? He's quite arsey and all the rest of it. And I love the kind of progression to him saying Batman to father to dad at the end. It's just that, you know, deconstruction of his walls coming down when he's realizing that his dad's about to die, kind of thing. Love it.
Yeah.
Well,
because you always had this barrier up between you and Bruce, and it's great to see when that gets shifted.
I like the first issue where Damien and John are playing on the games console, and you know, Lois Lane's like, "Oh, where's my phone?" And there's a big rush.
Oh yes, yeah.
Because that's you know, that was my favorite scene. It's like no, and there's that created that suspense. I was like, oh, yeah.
It was just a nice little moment between them. And there he's saying, "Well, you're supposed to be a detective." Oh yeah, but you've got extra vision. Yeah. So issue 2, we get Aquaman infected. Then we get find out the Joker's infected. And then Hal Jordan also gets infected. And then with Hal Jordan being infected, obviously he can no longer be the Green Lantern. So that ring goes to Diana Lance, the Black Canary.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting choice, really.
Yeah.
Out of all the heroes. But she does an amazing job as the Green Lantern, by the way.
Yes.
And you get Batman's trying to slow down the infection, so he's in one of Mr. Freeze's old suits. But he ends up smashing the casing.
Yeah.
And turn on Alfred, and Alfred just puts him down.
Yeah.
And says, "Sorry, son." It was a bit jarring the end of this one as well.
The entire series is quite heart-wrenching. Yeah, every episode's kind of got a bit of a gut punch. But can we just respect the fact that Ollie's gone camping and he's still taking his boxing glove arrow with him?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's tremendous.
Ian said, "Don't like DC, might like this." I liked.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on issue 2, lads?
Just another solid issue. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I love the Green Lanterns. They're one of my favorite sort of graphic novels I always read. So it's always interesting to see how a Lantern Ring was reacting to him being corrupted.
Yeah.
And it's like no, you can't danger anyone else on Earth, and then they killed him with the arrow, and no, she kills him with she kills Hal Jordan with a scream. Yeah. And then because of that, the ring chooses her, I think. So possibly. So yeah, and she played an amazing Green Lantern. She did. Yeah.
Any thoughts, Efren?
I think Peter mentioned this, or somebody mentioned this about the Robin scene. You know, right here on this page.
Yeah.
You know, Robin's always stoic and like a machine, but you can see his humanity coming. He says, "Father." He says, "Batman, father, then dad" at the end. You know, that's his. Humanity. Showing that he's, his dad's about to die. That was very. It was a great scene. This whole series, even this Green Lantern scene. When they're fighting against him and Diana, Black Canary, I go, wow, what a great idea, making her a Green Lantern. I wish they would do that in the regular, DC universe. And she's a very powerful character,
Yeah, it'd be good to see that, actually. Yeah. And incidentally, that's how I always greet Efren, Batman, father. So we'll go on to issue 3 now. So good, isn't it? So get some more people infected. Harley takes out the Joker. It's been a long time coming. Superman goes to save his mum and dad. Obviously, his dad's infected. Park Kent. Look at him there. But Ma's all right.
The artwork in that issue, just the pain in Superman's face where he's not even kind of fighting or anything. It's just, it's brilliant. Very well done.
It
I
is.
think.
It's really, really good.
He doesn't
artist,
kill him,
like.
does he? He just reshuts the door, doesn't
Locks him in the
Yeah.
locks him back in the cellar.
Yeah.
he? Mm.
And I know Efren likes a splash page.
Oh yeah. Oh, there's it. Yeah.
That was amazing. That
Yeah. Look at that all day.
it's quite scary to see, though, isn't it? Like knowing how much, because you don't think it's going to spread to the sea because you're thinking, oh, they can't have phones in the sea.
Yeah.
It just takes one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So issue 4, start off with Captain Atom and Amanda Waller talking, and Ray Palmer gets inside Captain Atom and infects him.
Yeah.
He's like one of the most powerful beings around, and now he's infected with this virus. You also get a bit about the Flash.
Yeah.
They're hiding. Wally and Barry's hiding because if they get infected, that means this virus will be able to spread at super speed.
Yeah.
So they're hiding just to save people. But yeah, Captain Atom gets infected and he basically goes nuclear and blows up Washington DC. I think Metropolis gets caught in it and Gotham. Then you get Gigantica turning up, as you can see here, and Cyborg takes her out. I love that panel.
Yes.
With the giant hole in her head. The Superman's looking like, what the fuck you just do? Any thoughts on this issue?
I love it because, well, first off, the kind of the Atom infecting Captain Atom is brilliant, and I love that explosion. I don't know if it's this issue or the next issue, but it's superb. But I really like this kind of conflict in Superman as well. So even up till this point, he's still refusing to do lethal force. He's still hoping everybody can be saved, and that's kind of the conversation he's having here, saying why we can try and save them. And he's probably thinking, he's just locked his paw in the cellar. He's hoping he can go back and save him somehow. But yeah, again, the artwork's absolutely stunning. I love it. I'm not sure about this cover, mind. I'm not sure why it's got Sergeant Fury on the front.
Not Sergeant Fury. That's his name, Sergeant Fury?
Is it Sergeant Rock? Sorry, Sergeant Rock, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't quite understand what that's all about, because he's not in the comic.
No, he's not, no.
And even the Batman, because the Batman died in the last issue.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a homage to another comic or something.
Maybe he's, I'm not sure on that one. Yeah, I've lost my train of thought now. Look at that. But yeah, the monkey cover. All right. I didn't really. Yeah.
Very cool.
Okay.
That's cool. There. Yeah, the monkey cover is a homage to Critters. It is. Yeah.
Right.
Cheers, Fuzzy. That won't keep us up tonight. Then we go on to the one bit in this trade, which is a tie-in, and it's A Good Day to Die. It is a good story. You don't need to read it. It's pretty much just about Big Bada, Mr. Miracle, Booster Gold, and Blue Beetle, and what they're doing while this infection's taken over. Miracle Man and Big Bada go to Apocalypse, say it's destroyed. They come back. You see Mr. Terrific there. He has Captain Boomerang tied up. He's trying to find a cure. They go and see Constantine because they think magic might be the answer. Then they go, that fails, so they decide to do time travel, which doesn't happen.
No,
because Booster Gold gets taken out of existence. Hi Ken. And Zatanna, Dr. Fate turn up. Big Bada rips Mr. Terrific in half. I don't know if any of you caught that because it was just done right into the back bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't need to read this issue, but I like the interactions between the characters. Anybody's thoughts on this, please?
Efren was about to go.
Okay.
Go on, Efren.
I read it because you said, read this too. I enjoyed it, but at the end, nothing really happened. They didn't read, which I was kind of hoping they'd find a cure for it, but they didn't. And then at the end, there's a question mark, to be continued question mark. And then I started, trying to find if there's like a good day to die too, or something else that happened. So like I said, it's not necessary to read this book because it doesn't really solve anything. That's the way I mean, I did love the artwork though, and what happened to each character, but yeah, I mean, I'm glad I read it, but was it necessary? If you don't read it now,
I always like to read a bit of Constantine anyway. So
yeah.
Simon, any thoughts on this one?
I think it broke up because in the last issue we had obviously Captain Atom set off Metropolis, and we didn't know what happened. So I think it's a good breaker issue for that suspense and surprise. What's going to happen next? So I think you should read it just to not, and it's got other characters because it was like, I was like, what's happened? What's happened? And then this takes you like sort of to the England, UK to see Constantine and everything. So it's the other side. It's not Metropolis. It's the other side of the earth. So it's interesting to see these sort of, like you said, beeline characters get involved with each other. It integrates time travel and magic to show other things. I didn't understand how, is it Mr. Terrific, how he said his face mask stopped him from reading it and it didn't work on him, as if he'd had a cure. I didn't understand that.
So Mr. Terrific, I think he sees everything through like lenses, TV lenses kind of things.
Yeah.
So I think it filtered it out or something. That's the way
right,
because I know it looks like it's painted on his face, but it's a mask.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah.
But I think Superman in like one of the early issues, Superman was talking to Big Barley and Miracle Man.
Yeah.
So they probably just wanted to tidy that bit up.
Yeah.
Whether any of this gets mentioned down the line of further issues, I don't know.
It does. So this kind of leads on to, I can't remember, it's one of the other mini-series is where you see kind of a lot of the DC magical characters, Spectre and things like that, trying to come to it. And there's I can't remember which mini-series it is, but there's a big thing about the Green kind of becoming sentient and things. I'm slightly different to Efren on this. I liked the issue. I thought the writing was really good. I thought the humor in it was quite good, but I didn't like the art. It kind of jumped all over for me, and I don't know if that was just because I was used to the art in the other comic.
Yeah,
so this for me didn't work as well. I wish it had been the same artist as the regular title, I guess.
Yeah. Fuzzy's just saying there's a Sergeant Rock versus Army of the Dead comic. It was very similar to the last cover, so maybe that's why they did that one.
Okay.
Cheers, Fuzzy. He's
Cheers,
on point
Fuzzy.
tonight, isn't he?
He's on the ball, and he's on the
He's
ball.
on the ball. He always is. Then we'll go straight into issue 5. If everyone's done with that one. Oh man. So we start off issue 5 seeing the devastation after Captain Atom has went nuclear, and then the heroes go around trying to take out the internet. So they're smashing up servers, taking out satellites, trying to stop it. Then they try to help people. They go to Themyscira and they raise the sea floors to make room to get people on. So like being a bit of a safe haven. Ivy takes people into the Green to keep them safe in Gotham, and also take them to the Fortress of Solitude. And I think this is the first issue we see Damien as the new Batman.
Yeah.
He's then they decide to build arcs because Lex Luthor gets involved, and being one of the smartest mans on the planet, they decide to build arcs and shoot off into space. But Barry gets infected in this issue, and this was his worst fear. And Superman has to intercept him. Obviously, he can't catch him up, so he has to intercept him. I liked how they did that. But Superman gets infected at the end. Bit of a shocker, another shocker ending.
Just
any thoughts on this, Pete?
Yeah, I mean, going back again, this is what I keep saying about this being such an emotional title for me. Just this interaction with Lex Luthor here, where Lex turns up and Superman's like, "Don't even friggin' start, Lex." And he just drops to his knees and says, "Look what they did to my city. Look what they did to our city." And it's just like that realization that this is actually big shit, Love the Martian Manhunter making an appearance and
Yeah.
gutting everybody. And this bit where Superman just flies into the Flash, I mean, it's so graphic. And for those watching at home, that's the Flash's fingers kind of stuck inside Superman.
Embedded into Superman.
Yeah. Then there's that stunning interaction between John and Superman, and then he obviously loses it.
Yeah.
And just the title, Hope Lost. By this point in this series, I'm really starting to think, does this just end with everybody dead? Do you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
it really does feel like, actually, well, how do you get out of this at this point? It's just mental, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, really good issue.
Yeah, absolutely. Efren.
So I think when Barry got infected, that was the turning point because of his speed, being able to infect all kinds of people. And I think Superman was in a way selfish because of his humanity. He had to go say bye to his family, but the infection was, accelerating in his body. By the time he left, and I think he was gonna go directly into the sun or something just to die.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
But him being human and wanting to say bye to his family, that doomed humanity even more. The minute he got infected, if he just would have taken off into the sun, a lot of this, then the series would have ended, obviously. But his humanity played into this big time, which is unfortunate, And then is this and issue 5 is when Wonder Woman and Superman 5 was that issue 6?
That's the next issue.
Issue 6.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed it.
Oh, sorry, Efren. You were finished.
Okay.
You really enjoyed.
Yeah.
So what was interesting for me is obviously we got to see what happened with the blast from Metropolis. Superman, Wonder Woman survived that blast, so they can take a blast from Captain Atom, from him igniting, which is interesting. But also, Lex Luthor saved Lois Lane by putting this like green.
Yes, yeah.
And that was quite interesting because obviously, Superman was worried, and then then they're gathering the humans trying to save them, but the Martian Manhunter, the way he just turned up out of the blue and just did that to Lex Luthor and Barry Allen, I was like, what the? I was like, no. And he looks really grotesque, the Martian Manhunter. I've never seen him sort of in that form. Yeah.
Brutal.
It was really brutal. I the Flash, these are main characters, for Superman to intercept him to try and stop him. I was like, okay. And then we know Superman, fingers getting him. So what's interesting is this virus can be spread by smartphones, but it's also, they're not zombies, but they do bite you like zombies still. So they can be affected from blood as well.
Yeah.
So it is like a zombie virus, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
It starts from the anti-life equation on your phone. So
Yeah. It's a definitely interesting one. We'll go on to issue 6, please.
We've got a few slides for this one, I think.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah, the Kraken.
Yeah, it's cool.
Wow. Yeah, so issue 6, they start to plan out how to take out Superman at the beginning of this, which is interesting because they don't know how they're going to do it. But obviously Damien comes up. No, Alfred tells Damien, your dad packed your utility belt, check this pocket, and he has a piece of kryptonite. So Wonder Woman takes that into action and forges a new blade. Harley and Ivy decide to stay in Gotham, stay behind. They don't want to go on the Ark. Aquaman turns up with his Kraken, as you can see there, which is freaking awesome piece of art. The Green Lantern Corps shows up. Superman tries to drain the sun, which is insane. But ultimately, Wonder Woman gets infected, as we say here, by Superman. When she turns, Cyborg uses the lasso of truth on her, and the virus can talk. And he asks her, "Is there a cure?" And she says, "Yes." This is after everybody's took off of Earth mind in the arcs, so there's no one left behind. And she and then she tears his head off, which you can see it plopping down here in that bottom panel. But eventually, the survivors end up on a new Earth. still very impactful for the last issue. I thought, just with Cyborg talking to Wonder Woman when she's infected and find out he's being the cure all along.
Yeah.
Yeah, even though he's patient zero.
Yeah.
But the thing about it, though, him being patient zero, how he never turned.
Yeah.
I didn't get that bit, because you would have thought if he's infected, he's infected.
Because the anti-life equation wants to kill all life. And I guess him as patient zero, he's the transmitter. So he's left walking around continuously transmitting it, I suppose.
Yeah. That's why we've got a nurse on the panel. Final thoughts on this issue. We'll go with Simon.
Yeah, I mean the Kraken that scene was amazing. Yeah, they're on Themyscira, aren't they? And they all come out of the sea. I was like, wow. You see, I thought, it infecting, I could understand it through phones and infecting Earth. I never thought it would affect the sea to that impact from Aquaman. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, the Kraken and everything, but he obviously controls all the sharks and Kraken and everything. And it was quite a big scene. And then Superman, obviously, because he was spending time saying goodbye to his son and Lois, he wasn't able to get away and kill himself into the sun. So the kryptonite blade was a cool idea. I thought was, the quick thinking there, like Batman, like he taking over the new Batman is like, right, I've got this quick thinking, let's do this. And then Cyborg being actually the cure. So there is a cure for it and everything. My favorite scene yet again was all the Green Lanterns showing up at the end.
Yeah.
So, saying, oh, we're here to help. And then, they decided they can't help because Superman just thinks, okay, all these Green Lanterns have turned up. Maybe I'm a bit outnumbered here. And he just dives himself into the sun and to sort of absorb the sun to ignite the sun, I suppose, or make it take the sun power, doesn't he? So.
Yeah, he went into the sun, he's basically draining it. So it'll just be cold, it'll be dead. That'll be a dead planet now.
Yeah.
I think that's what got explained about the Green Lantern Corps turning up. Superman wouldn't be able to take them down.
Yeah.
Take them all down.
Right.
I think that was explained in it. Why did they have to have Guy Gardner in there?
But he was quite funny because he's like, he made those cracking jokes and she's like, stop that. And she's like, yeah, but I'm not Hal Jordan or Kyle Rayner.
Yeah.
That is a part of me.
Yeah. Efren, your thoughts on the final issue?
Before I talk about the final issue, I forgot what issue it was, but when Damian was telling Batman had a contingency plan for everyone, he didn't have one for Green Arrow. That was so funny, and he kept on going back, and he was like insulted, and then Black Canary basically told him, "Come on, really? This is what you're worried about right now?"
And that's when you get this scene, Efren, isn't it, where he puts the arrow through Aquaman's eye, and basically he's fit.
Yeah. And also, I think Mira's the last Atlantean around then. Her whole race. She's the last one standing, so to speak. But I mean, I love the ending. 2 of the 3 arcs, I think, got away. And they also, I think in this issue, they also show what happened to Themyscira, the island, if I'm pronouncing it right. They decided to stay. And I found it interesting that a Poison Ivy and a Harley Quinn stayed on Earth. And the sun exploded. That I would like to see what happens to them, going forward. I mean, they have plant life, but there's kind of no sun if the sun exploded, right? So curious to see what happened to them. And did any humans stay with them also? It was just them 2 or anybody else, But yeah, I love this series. I'm so glad like we chose it or whoever chose it, reading it again after like 10 years, so to speak, since it first came out. It was a really good story. And I love the artwork. I mean, look at Superman's face in the middle panel on the bottom right-hand side. Pure animalistic. Yeah. He's got one agenda, Yeah,
I think you're absolutely right, Efren. There is a lot of unanswered questions. And I think that's one of the most intriguing things about this book, and what makes me want to carry on reading it is to find out about all these things. So, Pete.
Yeah, so it is worth saying, just for anybody watching, that you do get the answers to pretty much all of the questions everyone's just asked in future miniseries. So, so a lot of so I think this was initially designed as a one-off, but they left enough kind of hints, and then they've subsequently done, I think there's about 4 miniseries after. So there's the Unkillables, there's Dead Planet, which picks up on the kind of the Harley Quinn and the Green side of things.
That's right.
Yeah,
I read that.
Yes. So there are a lot of miniseries following on from this, which is great, but it kind of doesn't work in the favor because they've done such a good job of killing so many big characters off here. I think when they suddenly realize that they've got more stories to tell, they kind of go back on that a little bit. And you see some characters come back, shall we say.
Yeah.
But in terms of this issue, in terms of this book, like Afrin said, I absolutely loved it. I like the humor levels. The battle between Superman and Wonder Woman is superb. Even though it's only, those 2 pages there, it's really impactful. I think it ties the series up nicely. If you wanted to stop reading here, it's a nice end point.
Absolutely.
But I tell you what I thought when I was reading this, guys, in each battle kind of lends it to us. DC, more so than Marvel, are absolute masters of doing animated movies, animated releases.
Yes.
And the pick up on a lot of the Elseworlds. I would love to see this as a proper DC animated movie, just as violent, just as graphic, and they've done it for a lot of them,
Yeah, I could absolutely see them doing this. Like they have done Dark before, like the Killing Joke.
They've done the Flashpoint and all the others.
Yeah. They could definitely pull this off.
Efren, to your question, they have done an animated DC one for Batman with his contingency plans.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's quite interesting to watch because there are different contingency plans that he has in place to stop everyone. So,
that was hilarious with the Green Arrow.
I also think in this fight between Wonder Woman and Superman, Wonder Woman was doomed because of her humanity. I think she still cared about Superman, so I think she, in a way, probably subconsciously held back. Because if you think about it, and they couldn't do this in the series with that sword, all she had to do was just chop his head off.
Yeah. And obviously the other side of that is that, exactly. The other side of that is that this is probably the first time Superman hasn't held back.
Yes.
He's not restraining himself at all there, is he? I mean, the fact he just punches through her is superb, Just shows how powerful he is.
And he's one-handed and all because he did lop off an arm. Yeah. So good on him.
Very cool. Very cool.
Is there like what happens to the Teen Titans in this? Is there a mini series of that, or that would have been cool?
Not. I was just saying. I think some of the characters appear in the latest series, War of the Undead Gods. I'm sure Donna Troy and Arrow. Who's the Speedy? Do you know who I mean? All those characters are featuring it quite heavily. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I think for future things when we do books like this, we'll have to put up a further reading.
Yeah.
So that people know at home what else there is. But we'll probably end up reviewing it in them anyway.
Yeah.
We'll come around to do sequels.
I'm very much sorry, mate. This has very much got. This has got me back on the track. So I know I've got 3 or 4 hardbacks. So I'm going to go and pick those up out of my room and have a read of them over the next few days because I want to read on.
Yeah. Brilliant. Simon, Efren, going to be picking up any more of these?
Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna, from Peter's recommendations, I'm definitely gonna be picking up and reading the rest of the stories. So.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that I read that one until Peter mentioned it with Harley Quinn and all that. And that's the bus. They had a bus in there, right? Is that the one? Yeah. Okay. I did read it. I go, dang, I forgot about it completely. So I'm gonna reread that too. But like I said,
dang it.
Yeah. This series was only 6 issues long, and it was concise, and it was action throughout the whole series, which I enjoyed. And it was a good series. I'm glad I reread it again.
It was such an easy reading as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think I had this down like an hour and a half, and it's just flowed so well. I think
Robin, then your explanation was at the start, and the rest was all action. There was obviously some little explanations of how to stop people, but other than that, that's why it made it an easy read. It wasn't like trying to explain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We also got to mention the one scene where Jonathan Kent had to fight, son against father, out in space.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah. That was like, wow. I mean, going up against your dad, you have to kill him basically, to save the human race,
Yeah.
Crazy.
It is some heart-wrenching stuff in it as well. So, any favorite issue or just a favorite part of the book?
That's hard.
It is hard for this one.
Favorite scene for me is Jonathan Kent coming out of the barn and Superman's kind of just crushed. I find that really, really emotional. I like that one a lot.
Yeah. Efren.
For one of the favorite scenes for me, almost similar to what Peter said, is when Alfred had to kill Batman. That's his father, Alfred. He had to, or he would die himself. So I mean, that was heart-wrenching too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Simon.
I think when Hal Jordan is killed by Black Canary and she gains the ring, that's my favorite scene.
Yeah,
it's a good scene.
I will have to go with Damien explaining the contingencies.
Yeah.
Oliver Queen. Just in all that darkness, you get this little bit of light and laughter.
The Green Arrow is like, he hasn't got one for me.
Very good. Always well done, that.
I had a second favorite scene, if we're allowed to say.
Yeah, of course,
Lois Lane punched out Lex Luthor.
Yes, she did, yeah.
She put him in his place, says, don't fuck around, dude. Yeah, I love that scene. Yeah.
Brilliant. I want to just come out and say I want to score this 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
You didn't need the tie-in that trade. You just kept it in 6 issues. I think that would have been like a perfect 10. Pete?
I'm trying to think of reasons to mark it down. And I think probably the only thing I can come to is probably the same as you. I'm not sure. I enjoyed the tie-in.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was needed. But if I'm marking it with the tie-in, I'm going to say a 9.5. If I'm marking it just as the 1 to 6 issue miniseries, then it would be a 10.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm marking it on the trade, it's a 9.5. Yeah.
9.5 from you. Simon?
I actually enjoyed the mini series just because it got to see. I like Booster Gold and I love Constantine. I love those characters. So I loved how it broke up the big blast from Captain Atom, and it just shows you that hang on, we've explored magic and we've explored time travel to try and stop this, and obviously that then puts an end to it. You're like, okay. So they have explored those, because that's what was in my head in the other issues. It was like, Flash could just go back in time and stop all this.
Yeah.
You see, rather than hiding in a little cupboard.
That's true. Wow. About that.
It is true.
Yeah. But
would you cause the flashpoint then?
Yeah, could have made things even worse.
They've done that in an animated, didn't they? Constantine caused the flashpoint with the Flash, sort of forced him to go back in time and change everything because Apocalypse, Darkseid wrecked the place. Yeah. I give it a 9. I enjoyed it. So.
Solid 9. And Efren?
This has been my favorite read of all the time I've been on since we started doing this. I missed Flashpoint, but everything I've been around for every other episode. I really enjoyed this story. I mean, I give it a solid 9, almost a 9.5. I mean, I really enjoyed it. I read it again, So kudos to DC for doing something like this,
Yeah,
absolutely. So 9 from you then, Efren?
Yes, 9.
9. So do some quick maths there. That gives us an average of 9.1.
Wow,
very good. Very good.
I'm not sure if that's might have a new number 1 here. Might have a new number 1.
Top of the leaderboard, maybe.
No, it's number 2. Punisher, 9.2.
Punisher Sylvie.
Wow.
Oh, I don't know if that's fair.
Which would you choose, this or Punisher?
I would choose this over Punisher.
Me too. What? I'm gonna lower my grade for Punisher. Hang on. What did I give Punisher last time?
I don't know. You have to go back and watch it.
All scores are final, Efren. You can't
No,
change your mind.
final. We're gonna see what's coming up next now. We'll have to do a leaderboard though, won't we?
How many books are left on this?
Just the two. Oh, there's up there, Pornhub.
Pornhub?
Is that a book?
It's Crimson Cage.
Crimson
Okay.
Cage. Okay, good stuff.
Crimson Cage.
That's
Which means after Crimson Cage, it'll be Philadelphia.
Philadelphia.
Okay.
So Crimson
Good
Cage
stuff.
next.
Yeah. Have you guys read Crimson Cage?
I started it, but for some reason I didn't finish it. You introduced me to the John Lee's The Writer,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
enjoyed it, but for some reason I just never finished it. So now's my chance to finish it. You know.
Yeah, so Crimson Cage next time we're back, which will be in a fortnight. That's it. Pete, what have you got coming up this week, mate?
What have I got coming up?
We've got another hour.
So I've got a couple of videos out. I've got a hot toy video today of Batman, the Christian Bale Batman. I've got Indiana Jones hot toy or sideshow toy, review on Thursday to tie in with the release of the movie. Going to see that tomorrow night. Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Friday night I'll have my comic book review show and probably a toy review. Saturday we'll have Saturday Night Live. Monday we'll have Spotlight on Transformers, I think it is.
Yeah, we're doing Transformers, yeah.
And then Tuesday night I'm going live with a guy called Rich from Reviews with Rich to do a live review on his channel of Indiana Jones.
Very cool.
So yeah, quite a bit coming up.
Yeah.
So that to hit your quota.
I'm gonna be focusing for like the next 3 weeks on Comic-Con as much as I can, either on Instagram, posting pictures. I just posted a video yesterday downtown San Diego Convention Center before the con, just showing people what it's about. And whatever pops in my head, I'll do videos on YouTube, but just hanging out with you guys is always enjoyable, just having fun talking about comic books.
Yeah.
We're going to show you. Peter still has his job.
Chris. Yeah, I do, Chris. Yeah.
That sounds all excellent. Can't wait for San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Apparently Marvel's not doing Hall H.
Yeah.
Marvel's not doing it. A lot of studios are bowing out. So, everybody's curious, what's going to take his place.
It's going to be a weird one, isn't it?
But they're going to have, Marvel's going to have a booth, though, in the convention center,
right.
The hall. But as far as Hall H on Saturday, they're not going to be there.
It's interesting, isn't it?
It's very interesting. Yeah.
You'll have to fill that spot, Efren.
Yeah.
I thought they would be kind of pushing something like the Marvels or something like that. I thought they would be using the opportunity to try and push that, but interesting.
I heard Marvels is a lot of fun and it's got 2 post-credit scenes.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to try to go Instagram Live as much as I can during Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Plus, hopefully on Saturday, when Peter is on his channel on Saturday, the week of Comic-Con, I'm going to try to go live too.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
That'd be superb.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. Obviously, I want to leave everybody's links in the description. Simon, have you got anything coming up before we go?
Not as planned, no. I want to try and get us all, but with everyone busy, I want us to try and watch an anime and review it. So.
Well, let us know.
Yeah, we'll.
You've got the power.
I've got the power.
You've got the power. Say it, Simon. I've got the power.
I've got the power.
You can do it.
You can do it. And that's us for this week. Thanks very much, everybody in the chat, and thank you to my panel as always. Until next time, we will all see you later. Smile and wave, boys.